Hi folks, this is Jay. Hope you're okay today. It's good to see you. I just want to share with you what I would call the silver bullet of atheism. You know, when I was a kid I used to watch these films, Frankenstein and Werewolf, and you know, the heroine of the story would talk about that the only way to kill the werewolf was with a silver bullet. And I think the main bullet for atheism, the silver bullet, is on the issue of morality. For the atheists, they've got serious intellectual problems. In fact, they've not only got serious intellectual problems, they've got a problem that they can't solve, that they can't get out of. And that is about morality. You see, with the Christian position, there is a boundaries within the system. There's a boundary of what is right and what is wrong. There are boundaries of checks and balances, so that, you know, it talks about if you do not love your brother, then you're not a Christian. So Christians have a clear demarcation point of where they are, to the circle of action that they can conduct themselves in, and actions that they should not conduct themselves in. It's very, very clear. Whereas the atheist doesn't have that. There's no boundaries. There's nowhere to say what is right and wrong. And so what that means in an atheist position is theoretically possible to engage in any kind of immorality and not have a problem with it. So it's theoretically possible for an atheist to have a marriage with 3 women, or a marriage with 3 men, or a marriage with 4 men or 4 women as one unit. It's theoretically possible for an atheist to marry a horse, or marry a cow, or marry a pig. It's theoretically possible for you know, any kind of immorality that you can think of is theoretically possible in an atheist system to be able to do, so long as it doesn't harm anybody. Is okay. So from an atheist perspective, so you know, having sex with a wine bottle, you know, it might not affect anybody, it might not bother anybody, so you could do it as an atheist. But at the end of the day, you leave yourself open to immorality and practices that are just not godly and not going to do you any good spiritually, and are basically wrong. So that's the first thing. There's no boundaries. You know, if there are boundaries, they're only social norms, and social norms can change. And if there are any boundaries at all, it's because you have a conscience, and that's what that proves that Christianity is true, because it tells you that there's a general morality of right and wrong that's existed throughout history. And you know, if you have a boundary, is down to your conscience, and that universal morality of having respect for human beings is implanted there, which is a complete proving of your atheism completely wrong if you do have boundaries. But according to your system, you don't have to have any boundaries. If you do create boundaries, they're not permanent boundaries. They don't have any permanence. They can change from year to year, month to month, and if they don't change, then that proves that morality, there's a kind of general, always is there morality that isn't according to social norms, that isn't according to evolution, which would be a completely denial of your own position. So either way, as atheists, you've got not a leg to stand on. And then there's the whole issue about nature, that nature doesn't say anything about morality, and yet you as an atheist base your morality on nature, which is crazy. You can't build a morality that way. And all the talk about, well, morality is based on biological function is just nonsense, because if morality was just a biological function, then you couldn't talk metaphysically about love, or you couldn't talk metaphysically about kindness, or any of these things, it would end it all. You can't get away from the fact that your understanding of morality is reductionistic. That is to say, that it's reduced to the material, and once you reduce morality to the material, i.e. with biological phenomena, you lose all sense of dignity of what it is to be human, because at the end of the day, matter has no value, and if we're just made of matter, then we have no value. If we put value on ourselves, it is only something subjective and can change from time to time. And that's the problem with an atheist system. It's such a big problem that Fehrenbach tried to develop a morality, but we don't hear much about Fehrenbach today. Nietzsche tried to develop some kind of morality. We don't hear much about Nietzsche's morality today. And atheists have come along and tried to give us some kind of morality, but each time it falls by the wayside. Yet Jesus' morality is quite simple, and it's basically love your neighbour as yourself. And he not only said it, he actually lived it in his own life. So we have a great example, which is above any atheist example, because like Bertrand Russell was really selfish, having sexual shenanigans with other women and really making his wife unhappy. Nietzsche contradicted his own teaching. He said be strong, but he couldn't keep it up. He ended up being weak in the end. But Jesus practiced what he preached. He went around loving people, and he talks about love, and he commands us to love. And that is a pretty good principle to live by, don't you think? And it's not based upon social norms. It's not based upon what you think. It's objective. And it's a boundary, because if you're to love, you're not to do anything that's unloving towards your partner. You're not to have 10 partners, 3 partners, but just one partner and be faithful. You're not to indulge in sexual practices that are going to affect your partner in a way that are going to bring them down. So this morality of love is a good thing, and it's a lot better than this kind of hodgepodge kind of atheist morality that which multiplicity. There's a multiple variety of these atheist moralities. Moralities. Is it moralities? Yeah. And I just think there's no one voice, and each one of them falls down, and they're reductionistic, i.e. they are based on scientific models, on the basis of matter, and everybody knows that you can't develop morality from that. No one can explain, can a rock love? And if we're just biological phenomenon, then we're just matter, and we're no different from rocks. Even if we say we are, we're just matter. So we lose our sense of value and dignity. But if we're made in the image of God, and we're not just matter, but we are people who were made to have relationships, and that we understand that covenant relationship and love is central to what it is to be human, then we have value and dignity. So much so that even some atheist Western intellectuals, like I think it's Habermas, has said that you can't get away from the fact that human rights that we have today has come through the Judeo-Christian faith. Thank you for listening, and take care.